Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Gaming Aroma podcast. It is Sunday. Sunday morning is here. Coffee is in hand. And I'm good to go. I didn't know if I was going to actually get to record this episode this week because I was actually supposed to be doing an episode of Gears Intel this morning, which is the Gears of War podcast that I do. But we've had to reschedule that. So, yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to have to do that in the morning. And then I thought, right, maybe I'll do Gaming Aroma later in the day. But then I had other stuff to do. So I might have had to skip an episode. So lucky for you, dear listener, I haven't had to skip. And I'm here. I am your weary host, KDB. And, yeah, there's a few gaming things to talk about once again. What episode is this? Episode 12, which is pretty good. How are you? Are you doing okay? MH check-in. My MH is fine, I suppose, at the moment. Is that adequate? Fine is like maybe the worst response you can give to somebody, but it's fine. What am I talking about? The weather is shit again today. Yeah, I'm just going to keep bringing people down. If I'm going down, you're coming down with me. Yeah, the weather is terrible. After a really nice day yesterday, the family and I went to a balloon festival yesterday, which had a grand total of 0 balloons. So that was good. But it was a lovely day. It was one of the warmest, sunniest days we've had in a long time. It felt like a summer's day, which is good. But then, yeah, just here comes the rain and the shit and the grey, everything to bring us back down to earth. But I'm not going to let it keep me down. Because gaming is fun. And gaming makes me happy. And talking about gaming makes me happy. When I'm not ranting and getting angry, which, might happen today. Before I start, I just wanted to say I have been having some weird audio recording issues for the past couple of weeks. You might notice when listening to this that sometimes like half a second of what I'm saying gets cut out and just isn't there, almost like a dropped frame on a video. I don't know what the hell's going on. I've been looking into it online. I've been on Reddit, been on forums trying to share this problem and share with people smarter than me. Nobody seems to know what's going on. So I'm sorry about that. Just bear with me. Yeah, it's been causing me a real pain in the ass, and it's going to give me some weird syncing problems, I expect, when I do some more group records, but trying to get it sorted. Shouldn't disrupt your listening experience too much, but yeah, just bear with me. Anyway, but yes, I'm here. Hope everyone's well. Thank you for listening as always. I had a kind of topic in mind for this episode for the past few days, which I thought was just going to be the only thing I talk about, but there's a couple of news items as well. Yeah, and that main topic is the topic of leaks and leakers. Specifically gaming leakers. I don't mean like WikiLeaks. Yeah, I mean gaming leaks. Yeah, and I wanted to talk a bit about leaks, which I will do in a minute, but first, what's going on? What else caught my eye? So obviously, actually, if you're in gaming, you've probably seen this. There was a news story that's kicked up a lot of fuss. And that's to do with Helldivers 2 and Sony PlayStation, with Sony now requiring everyone that plays Helldivers 2 to have a PSN account. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because it links back to the stuff I got really mad about on the previous episode, which was review scores, and specifically review bombing and user scores, because the whole thing's a mess. We know it's a mess. For those that don't know, so if you have a copy of Helldivers 2 on PC or PlayStation, where the game is currently residing, you now are required by Sony to create one of their PSN accounts and log into that when playing the game, which, on the surface is no big deal at all. It's free, it's nothing. Using pretty much anything on the internet or on a piece of hardware or, like a phone or whatever, or apps, requires you to log in. I've got to fucking log in to the app for my washing machine. It's mental. It is mental, but that's the way it works. Every single one of these companies collect your data. Most of them sell it off as well in varying degrees. That's just the world we live in. But that's not going away, and that's not going to change. And generally, I'm fine with it. I'm quite happy to create. Well, I say happy. I'm fine with creating an account. It's just it comes with the territory. It's like it makes me think of, and this is worse. This is more egregious. When you go to any single website now, you have to click the cookies thing, which. I mean, that is something that actually, every time I do that, I'm like, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way to address this issue, because having to accept or reject and do this cookies preferences pop up with every single fucking website, to me, that's, that keeps me awake at night. But creating an account to play a video game owned by, PlayStation, which I guess it's owned by PlayStation, right? I thought, no big deal. But people on PC are obviously upset about it. But there's two reasons. And one is slightly more legitimate than the other. One of the main reasons that people are really upset is they just don't want to create a PSN account. I don't want to give my data to this company, blah, 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 blah. I mean, do you need to give them any accurate data? You could probably just create a fake account or just put fake details on there. I'm pretty sure to create a PSN account, you don't need to show photo ID, right? So whatever, just put fake details in. So the people mad about having to create an account, it's like, one extra step that you have to do on every single thing out there anyway. But then the more legitimate issue is the fact that the PSN service is not available in many countries that the game has been sold in. So effective as of yesterday, I think the game stopped working in various countries. Where the fuck's my mouse? Here it is. Helldivers 2. Just Google in the news. I can't find it, but I'm sure I was reading earlier this morning that basically yesterday, that's when it started to be unplayable. Because you are now required to have a PSN account. Also, important detail is you are actually... This was a thing from when the game launched, from day one, but apparently Sony didn't enforce it because they had all those issues with server capacity and stuff like that, so they just didn't enforce it, and now they're like, okay, the game's sorted, by the way, you need a PSN account. But the problem is you can't get PSN in countries that the game is available in. And Steam, PC service Steam, is now actually offering refunds to people who have played the game more than the 2-hour refund period, because that they can no longer access the game because they can't get a PSN account. So Steam are doing a good job there, but it sucks for the people who love the game and wanted to play the game and have to either get a refund or just not play it. The developers, Arrowhead, have kind of made it very clear that this is a Sony thing, and they're trying to do things to work with Sony to sort it, but this is clearly a Sony thing. But as I say, it's not just a Sony thing. Every single company does this. You need logins for pretty much every service you use online. And okay, I think the number of games that you have to log into is small. It's not every single game, but lots of games out there you have to log into. You need an account. And certainly for online games, right? Online games and service games, which makes sense. So anyway, so there's two sets of mad people, or maybe somebody's mad about both of them, mad about both those reasons. But then what's happened is in the past few days, Helldivers 2 has received 30,000 negative reviews, which has tanked the review score of the game on Steam. And this is just what I was talking about last week. How can you trust... it's hard enough to trust review scores from reviewers. Aggregate score systems, they're just as pointless because of things like this. Now, if you're in you can look at this and go, okay, I know why it's getting negative reviews. It's just people review bombing and making their voice heard, which, is sort of... There's something to that. It might make Sony take notice, but it also happens kind of more nefariously as well when people review bomb because of tribalism, because of ideology, and and should we say hatred. So it happens for all those reasons, and now Helldivers 2 has been review bombed and currently sits with a mostly negative review on Steam, which everyone knows is not accurate. Well, not everyone, but here's the thing: if you're in it, you know that why it's got this review. If you're just Joe Blogs, or Jane Doe walking down the street thinking, oh, Helldivers, I want to play that game. I'm going to go and buy it on Steam. Let me check out the reviews first. Oh, it's mostly negative. Nah, I won't buy that. Then, that's a customer lost. So aggregate review systems are abused just in the same way as critical reviews and scores are given incorrectly. I'm not articulating my point properly here, but maybe you understand what I'm saying. But I just thought it was interesting that after my big rant episode last week about reviews, literally days later, you just see that happening now online. Yeah, I'd really love to play Helldivers. There's rumours that it's coming to Xbox at some point, but who knows? And yeah, so the whole story here is no point. I think just getting incredibly mad at Sony is not productive. Because, like I say, there's accounts for everything. I've got an account for my smart bulbs in my house to use the app on my phone. Actually, I run it all through the Alexa app now, but I used to use my smart bulbs, I had to log into an account on an app on my phone. Do I care? Not really. Is it annoying that it's an extra step? Yes, but it doesn't really affect my life. All right, I might get 30 spam calls a day from numbers that I don't know and people trying to sell me stuff. But hey, who answers their phone these days? Nobody. Doesn't matter. Right. It is funny how that is probably a large reason why lots of people have moved away from the, wanting to answer their phones is because of too many scam calls, right? Because everyone's data is sold. That's probably connected. That's a rabbit hole I'm not going to go down. But yeah, I suppose my thoughts on it are calm down. I suppose calm the fuck down for the most part, because a large portion of the people really mad about this are mad for the wrong reasons. Though there is definitely an issue with the game now not being accessible to people that can't get PSN in their country. So sort it out, Sony. Yeah, so I suppose that was it. That was just it was a little addendum. I don't have much else to say on it. It's been a hot topic these past few days, but yeah, I just noticed how it kind of linked into what I was talking about last week with reviews and review bombing and all that good/bad stuff. Anyway, moving on to more fun, positive, wonderful topics. Everyone's favourite people on the internet, the stars of the show, and that is leakers. I'm debating whether to even bother. What am I doing to myself? What am I doing to you listening to this by talking about this? Okay, I won't go. I'll keep it relatively brief. I did a tweet about it earlier in the week. So this week, there was a couple of times when this caught my eye. Number one was Xbox announced the Xbox Games Showcase for the 9th of June, which of course I'm very excited about. And then when they did the announcement, they also said, oh, and after the showcase, there is another direct for a redacted game. And, which kind of got a few people talking and theorizing, oh, what is this redacted game? And and I have to talk about it. So, I'm not a leaker. I'm just repeating some stuff that I've seen now. And generally, what I will say is when I see leaks, I don't repeat those leaks. And I'm going to expand on that in a minute. Yeah, I don't repeat the leaks. But for the purposes of just this podcast, I'm just breaking that rule just to give some context for the conversation. So there was this showcase and then redacted, and it was like, oh, what is this? What is this game? Is it Halo? Is it State of Decay? Is it Call of Duty? And then within minutes, people were like, oh no, yeah, we found this, we data mined this, we've leaked this picture from another game, or this, that, and the other. And it was like, it's Call of Duty. This redacted direct is for the new Call of Duty. And it was like, okay, fine. And so that annoyed me. And it's like, I don't really care about Call of Duty. Like, it's not something that I'm bothered if it gets spoiled for me or leaked for me. But I know that there's lots of people out there that do. And not only are there lots of people out there that care about it, there's lots of people that make the game. And there's lots of people that do care about their work that goes into the game. And there's lots of people that care about their work that goes into the marketing campaigns for the game to generate hype and interest. And not just for commercial and financial gain, but because lots of people in the industry are fans as well. You know, there is a divide. There's some people are just business people. But there's lots of people that work in the games industry who like games, right? It's more than just a job to some people. So people come along and just, you know, there's some thoughts gone into this campaign for Redacted, and it's like, oh, what could it be? Let's have some fun with this. And within seconds, people are like, yeah, no, it's Call of Duty. Moving on. So that was annoying. People leaked that. And then later in the week, maybe a couple of days later, I'm not going to say their name, but a so-called serial leaker on Twitter leaked some details or rumours and thoughts about the upcoming Resident Evil game. This person has leaked stuff in the past that has both come true and not come true. They flip-flop and change their mind. I think last year they actually said they are quitting leaking. And they haven't kept their word on that because they have since now shared more leaks. And again, I'm not going to talk about what those leaks are, but it was a very prominent thing that caught wind online, was shared by many aggregate sites, many aggregate accounts, saying, this leaker says this, what do you guys think? Oh, this is happening in the new Resident Evil game, what do you guys think? And notorious leaker so-and-so says this. It just, for 2 days, I had to fucking just see this stuff over and over and over again. And like I say, I did a tweet about it, and to paraphrase what I tweet, I just said that I don't think there's ever been a more unfashionable time to be a leaker. Like, it feels like maybe a few years ago or whatever, leaking was annoying, but it was kind of seen as exciting. Like, the gaming industry is so secretive. But then, so to get something leaked early was kind of exciting, and, you know, and I'm guilty of getting excited by it and being interested in it. I don't think I've never purposefully sought out leaks, right? But they've fallen in front of me many times in the past. But then in the past couple of years, I think there's been quite a few very prominent data breaches and big leaks where not only game details have been leaked, but people's personal details have. And I think and this is through studios. So there was the Nvidia leak, there was the Capcom leak. I think there was a Sega one as well. Sony had a big leak, a data leak a few years ago or something. But then one of the big prominent and I think it was just like a watershed moment, was the Insomniac leak, where basically the next 10 years of Insomniac's schedule was leaked, and people's personal details and budget stuff, and a whole range of things that, and I, before this, and I do stuff for First Aid Spray, and we go out of our way and have always said we don't cover leaks, and leaks are banned in the Discord as well, and we get rid of them. On Tapes from the Wastes, my Fallout podcast, we don't cover leaks. Other Fallout accounts do. When the TV show stuff was leaking, people were sharing the set images and stuff like that. No, we didn't share them. Didn't want to. I saw them, but I wasn't going to kind of regurgitate that stuff and add to the leakage, if you like. Gears Intel, again, we don't cover leaks. Actually, no, tell a lie. There was one leak we covered last year, and the only reason we covered it is because we all thought it was so utterly ridiculous that we wanted to touch on it in the podcast. And that was where a screenshot, it was like a photo of a PC monitor with some logos on and with the word confidential slapped over it. And it was so hilarious that we talked about it, and in that, you can watch the clip. We basically make fun of it because it's so dumb. But if I was to see some serious Gears of War leaks and rumours, I don't cover them. There's some out there right now, and on Gears Intel, I don't cover them. people tweet me on the Gears Intel account talking about those leaks, and I just kind of say, we'll see, or I ignore it. I don't kind of encourage those leaks. Because after this Insomniac leak and stuff all before that in the years leading up to it, I feel like there were some eye-opening moments that, this is affecting a lot of people when these leaks go out. The GTA 6 trailer was another one, right? And look, I'm not going to cry about the people that at the top of Rockstar. They've got loads of money, they're fine. But, there's people in the teams that put those trailers together and care about the marketing campaign and want to share it at the right moment with the fans and have some real fun with it. And then people come along and just spoil it and upload the trailer early in shit quality as well. So, yeah, countless leaks. It's getting less and less fashionable. And when you break it down, who do these leaks benefit? I made a joke about WikiLeaks at the start of this podcast. Okay, this is not Julian Assange exposing the wrongdoings of the American government in the Iraq and Afghanistani war, right? This is not Anonymous, exposing the governments and showing how that there's corruption and people need to kind of be brought to task. No, this is not that. This is video games. And, what one could argue and say, okay, look, there is a point for, I'm quite interested in the business side of video games, as you know, as I talk about on this podcast. If I'm going to continue to invest in the Xbox stuff, the Xbox ecosystem, if there was a leak that said internally Xbox have already agreed that they are they are turning off all their servers in 6 months or whatever, and nobody's getting any refunds for all their back catalogs and stuff. If that leaked, I'd want to know that, because then I'd stop spending money on the Xbox services, right? That's not going to happen, but that's an extreme example to show where it's where I think there's almost a justification for a leak, right? But with things like this Call of Duty stuff and this Resident Evil stuff and the Fallout stuff and the Gears of War stuff and all these leaks, what's the justification for it? There is none. The only reason they are leaked is for the benefit of the leaker. And there's two types. There is one that, say, works for an official news outlet. Let's just say The Verge, right? The Verge is a gaming news website with real reporters, real journalists doing work to get news out to people, to entice you to get to their social media account and thus then to their website, right? How do you get people to the website? You talk about interesting news, and leaks grab people's attention. A reporter working for a gaming news website or a tech website or whatever has some leaks. They share the leaks about not business leaks, separate to that. They just share video game details, plot details, or announcement details and stuff like that. They are sharing that to get you to their website so they can generate ad revenue. They can get better traffic, more clicks. What I'm talking about here. I'm not exposing some big secret. We all know this, right? It's just another form of clickbait. It's to get you to their website. This is a model that is struggling, it's desperately floundering and trying to stay alive. Because people generally don't get their news from websites anymore. Now, of course they do, but what has grown in popularity, obviously, is the use of social media, particularly YouTube, and Patreon model, subscriber model, right? I have gaming podcasts that I love, that I get a lot of 90% of my coverage comes from those people that don't do clickbait. They just run and live off subscriber models, off Patreon. They don't have to put out 30 articles a week. They aren't bound by ad space on their website and sponsors that they have to prove that they're getting higher numbers on Google and web page traffic for. The Patreon and subscriber model is different because it's based on just putting out good content that people want to pay you for. And that's not about being first. It's not about dragging people to your website. I mean, you know, you want to put out good content and make them subscribe. You want to drag them to you, but it's a different type of thing. It's putting out quality content, you know, quality, whatever that content is. But it's not just a cheap, quick, oh, here's this leak, come and read about it on our website. And all that's benefiting is that person and that website. It's not benefiting the business or the creatives, the devs, you know, that they are leaking the information from. Is this making any sense, what I'm saying? I'm very aware that I'm rambling and like not taking a breath. So let's take a sip of coffee. Yeah, as I say, it's not secret. We know this. They need your clicks. So that's one type of leaker, which I don't want to say I'm less judgmental of. Or what I would say is I'm less confused about, because I know why they're doing it. Like, it's like, and you hear them say it, that when it comes to leaks, these journalists say, that's the job. That's the job. And it's like, well, reporting is a job. Is leaking a job? Yeah, there's reporting in news, and there's getting out good news, and I think, you know, good editorials and interviews, good coverage, statistics, data, and then there's just leaks, which are just kind of shitty. But I get it. They're like, that's the job, and it's like, well, yeah, it's a bit of a shitty attitude to take. But I understand it. There's logic. The one I don't understand is from people like this Resident Evil leaker. Because this is a nobody. This is just a person. Well, I'm sure it's a person, but with the rate that AI is going at some point, it's probably not going to be a person. There's another tangent, which I'll leave for another day. This is just an individual online that has got this information from somewhere, you know, accurate or not. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not, but sharing it, it's not for their website that they're running. It's not for their Patreon. It's just for attention. And this is the one I don't understand, because there is not even any... I mean, that's not a benefit. It's like, at least with the websites, I can sort of see the financial benefit. And as shitty as it is, it's like, there's these other individual leakers. It's just like, look at me. I know something you don't know. Here's this information. What do you think about this? And then what do? Just sit there and like wank over it? Do they just sit there and masturbate at the attention that they're getting from putting this stuff out before anyone else? This desire to be first, to be the one who's first. It's so messed up. And I'm just kind of tired of it. And I think I'm not alone. I think lots of people are tired of it, because I see the response to these leaks. And the only people I really see sharing the leaks with glee, or with not glee, you know, sharing them in the sense of anything other than like disdain, are the aggregate accounts, the other content creators. And why are they doing it? Because they want clicks, because they want your traffic, they want the impressions on social media, so they can get another £12.50 from Elon fucking Musk. And it's just... what needs to happen to just kind of stop this? I mean, like I say, I think there has been a watershed moment with the Insomniac leak, and I do think we're seeing a trend away from this, because personally, there are one or two journalists who I've been following for a few years, who I've heard them talk, who have put leaks out there in that first sense that I was talking about, where it's like, yeah, well, I've got this information, I need to report it because we need the traffic and the website's got to survive. It's like, yeah, it's shitty, but at least I understood it. There's even a few of those people that are now outright saying, I don't do leaks anymore. Because I think they've seen the effect that it has on one... I mean, the gaming industry is obviously so fucking fragile, but then there are people at these studios, and there are people that like their jobs and like their careers and like the work that they put out. And when their stuff gets leaked and spoiled, and they've spent 6 months working on a campaign for something, and then some twat comes along and leaks it before it goes out there and just ruins the whole structure, that person might go home very upset. And I use the term very upset sort of, broadly. You understand what I'm saying, right? People bust their fucking ass at their jobs and their careers, through compulsion and compassion. They love what they do. And then for some little twat on the internet, some little reporter or some anonymous Twitter leaker to share this stuff and spoil it, if that person is not living a stable life, I mean the person in the job, the people at the studios, in the businesses, if there's something that's slightly unstable about them, who knows what they're going to go do? And in this age of protection for mental health, and, rightly so, treating people nicer, being kinder, which we're all trying to do to the best of our ability, I just think leakers are a fucking stain on that. They're helping nobody. What they do benefits nobody but themselves. And as I say, I see it from sort of the website traffic angle, but there's people that are in that business that are moving away from it because they're seeing the human cost on the other side. It's not just about, it's not my job to protect a big corporation. It's not my job to protect Capcom. It's not my job to protect Sega, Microsoft, whoever. No, it's not your job. But are you obliged as a human to just not be a prick and not think about the butterfly effect of your actions and how that might lead to some people that are, dragging themselves, kicking and screaming through life, but at least they've got this one thing. They do love their job. They're working really hard. They're working on their art. They're working on their passion. And you've just gone and fucked it up for them. And then lo and behold, as I said, the industry's fragile. People are getting fired left, right and centre. Studios are getting shut down. Everything is fragile. There could be a game coming out soon that, if it's not, the messaging isn't right about it, because this happens all the time, and Microsoft do this. People are always saying, they're ahead of the game. They were ahead of the game with the Xbox One. The reason it all went to shit is because the messaging was wrong, right? Messaging can make or break like a successful business or a product or a game or a movie, right? If a trailer is not, think about movies that have trailers that basically lie about what the film is. That's going to piss people off. So messaging is important, and marketing messaging is important, and the marketing is like a really dirty word. Like, I don't think it has to be a dirty word. Like, when I use the word marketing, I'm not thinking about, I guess, from the classic specific sense of, just sell this thing and equals profit. Market this thing rightly equals profit. No. My job, so I work in marketing for an SEN college, and through good marketing, we will introduce ourselves to people who need help, and we will introduce them to the wonderful opportunities at the college that I work at that has a proven track record to changing people's lives, getting people into work, building independence, and all this kind of stuff, which I'm not going to get into all the stuff about my day job, but if I was, and I worked in commercials and advertising, I had to advertise cold sore cream, and I wanted to fucking throw myself in front of a train because that was soulless, I had to commute every day, and there was times where I would just look at that train track and it was just like, I do not believe in what I'm doing. I'm contributing to like the evil of the world. And, this sounds really dramatic, but that is what I used to think, which is why I left that industry. And I chose to do I was like, I need to either work for myself so I can pick and choose my projects, or I'm going to go and do teaching. And I kind of ended up in the middle at my current job. So these sorry, I really went on a tangent then, but these leakers are helping nobody. I think there is a trend against leakers now. I think that people are becoming wise to it. I think it's so all the time that, and I just miss, even putting aside the human cost, Putting aside the commercial cost, right? Human losses and commercial losses. Human losses sounds like a really dark, extreme way to put it there. But as I said, you don't know. You might fuck up this person's entire career by leaking something. Yeah, so just put those aside, put those costs aside. When I think about it from a selfish perspective, I really, really do miss not hearing about movies, games, TVs until, like, I saw the poster in the cinema. Till I walked into the cinema and the poster was on the wall and I didn't even know something was coming out. The first initial trailer launches online, right? These days, you're hearing about stuff getting greenlit. You're hearing about meetings. You're hearing about, it's like telling people, you're not supposed to tell people when you're going to have your driving test, right? Because you might fail your driving test and then you got to tell them that you failed it. And it's like bad luck or whatever. It's the same sort of thing. If we just get all this, because you need a constant stream of news all the time to fulfill all these fucking websites, you hear about every little detail and then stuff goes on and on and on. So you hear about initial talks, green light meeting. Oh, they're finding writers or they're casting. Oh, here's a leak of a poster or something like that. And then the thing gets canned and it all gets binned off and it's like, well, that was all a waste of time, me getting invested in any of that because it's not even happening anymore. And that happens all the time. Stuff just never materializes. Let's think about gaming and look at Elder Scrolls 6. And it's like, okay, Elder Scrolls 6 is happening. It is being made and it is going to come out eventually. But it was first announced like 6 years ago. Is that right? And I think even Bethesda have said, yeah, we probably shouldn't have put that trailer out. Because what's the fucking point? Because then you just got people asking every 3 months, oh, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? And putting unnecessary pressure and being disappointed. I don't know. This has spiraled quite a lot, but do you get my point? I'm sure you do. Like I said, none of this is a secret. I just hate it. I hate these fucking leakers, man. They're a stain. They're spoiling it for me. Like I say, from a selfish perspective, they're spoiling the surprise, which it's like, okay, so what? They spoil a surprise. But yeah, it's annoying. I hate it. I think you need to be courteous about spoilers. I still am. I don't spoil things for people that are even out 30 years ago, I just don't. So they spoil things for me, which are really annoying. And then, like I say, they cost businesses money and they cost people happiness, I suppose, is one way of putting it. Because if I was, even just in my little job, if I was working on something for 3 months and getting ready to put it out there and announce it and launch it and show off something that we were all proud of at work, and then some little twat just came in and leaked it online in bad quality before I did, I'd go home very unhappy for a long time because I'd feel like all my work was wasted. I'd need to be talked round. You could get over it, I suppose, but yeah, it's a weird, dark situation, and I think people aren't taking the effect of leaks as seriously as they should. The website traffic model is dying because people get their sources of content and news from other places now. It's why, there's content creators out there that have thousands of subscribers, and I mean paying subscribers, but yet they have no PR. They have no contact with PR. They don't get any early access or anything like that. But still, people are coming to them for their opinions and their coverage. So they're doing something right, and it's proof that you do not need to just be a leaker. You do not need to be first. You want quality, right? Consistency and quality. People say quality over quantity. I don't really like that phrase because I think you can have a lot of quantity. I like a lot of stuff. I think consistency is more important. Yeah. I mean, I suppose you don't want to be consistently low quality, but at least you're consistent. I don't even know what I'm saying now. Yeah, I suppose I should stop going on about it. And you can tell this is a ramble, right? You can tell this, I'm just freestyling this off the top of the dome, just thinking about it. It's really got my goat this week. And I don't think people are taking the effects of leaks seriously and what it's doing to people. And I hate it. And if you're, like I say, if you're regurgitating the leaks, as I mentioned, we don't do it on any of the content shows, content channels that I'm a part of. And I see people the only people really resharing the leaks are just the people that want the clicks and want engagement. And I don't think they're helping. I think if you're one of those people, maybe think about why you're doing it. Maybe create something yourself. Rather than just leaking stuff that other people are doing, create something yourself. And let's see what people think about that. Anyway. God, I hope I haven't embarrassed myself with the last 20-minute ramble or whatever that was. It's supposed to be a good day. It's Sunday. It's pissing down with rain. Why am I not happy? I got some cleaning to do today. Maybe that's why. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I don't really have any gameplay section, so what I will do is I will just reiterate, because what have I been playing this week? Just Tales of Kenzera again. Kenzera? I need to say it properly. It's spelt Tales of Kenzera, but it's not really pronounced like that. It's pronounced Tales of Kenzera, right? I'm not sure. I'm probably messing it up. Tales of Kenzera Zao. Excuse me. I started it last week and I talked about it. I gave my sort of overview of my first initial impressions. I have finished it. It is one of the best indie games I've played in the last 5 years. As a Metroidvania, gameplay is solid. It's not massively in-depth. It is an indie game. It's not as advanced as something like Metroid Dread or Ori or Prince of Persia, which I played earlier in the year. And it's very similar to Prince of Persia. But the combat is solid and the abilities and skills are fun, and there is some variation in there that I really, really enjoyed, and you feel powerful using some of those skills. Floating around as well and dancing around as Zao, the main character. Really, really fun. But the game's main selling point really is the story. It's probably the best story you'll find in a Metroidvania. It's among the top few. This is one of these funny things, isn't it? Where I think Metroidvanias are generally more about the gameplay than the story. Here, it's the opposite. The gameplay is smooth, solid, done really well. There's no problems. It's not buggy. But the story, the characters, the heart and soul that's gone into this story absolutely sing through this game. So I finished it. I got all of the gamer score as well. I went and collected all the collectibles. It really, really did hook me. And apparently there's updates coming for the game. I'm not sure what they're going to be. And Abu, who makes the game, said that, this is just the beginning. They want to do DLC and they want other stuff. He's looking at graphic novels and he wants to do a TV show and a movie. So yeah, it's an exciting launch to a new IP, I think. And like I say, the game's like 15 quid, so you cannot go wrong. I highly recommend you go pick it up. I think it's on everything, so it's accessible to pretty much everybody, and it's cheap, and it's incredibly cheap for what it is. Such good value for money for this game. We're all complaining about the price of big AAA games. This is a solid, it's an indie game. It sits alongside double A's quite easily. Really fun. So absolutely loved that. And I'm looking forward to seeing more. I am currently installing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Respawn's much lauded and also kind of maligned because of some of the bugs, I think, and performance of the game when it launched. But apparently it's in good shape now. It's by Respawn, who I love as a developer, and it's a game I never really wanted to buy because I'm just not like a hardcore Star Wars fan. But everyone says it's really good, and it's come to Game Pass, so it's installing right now, and I'm hoping to start playing some of that later. Aside from that, I'm not playing anything else. Still playing Fallout Shelter on my phone, we just put out a new episode of Tapes from the Waste, and I talked about Fallout Shelter on there. If you don't listen to that episode, here's a crazy fact for you. Fallout Shelter, which came out in 2015, is now currently making $80,000 a day, or at least it was at some point over the last couple of weeks, because of the resurgence of the show, the Fallout TV show, and some new content they added to the game, which I'm also playing myself. They're just raking it in through microtransactions, and it's like, that was wild to me to read that. $80,000 in a single day. Yeah, that's not to be sniffed at. Mobile games a big deal. Any of you out there who are kind of snobby to mobile gaming, it's like, well, the way things are going, mobile gaming might be all we have in another 10 years. Who knows? So yeah, loving Fallout Shelter. And yeah, not playing anything else, just looking forward to starting Jedi Survivor. Sorry again if this rant has just brought you down. Come and calm me down. Come and tweet me. Tell me why I'm wrong about leakers, right? They're not so bad, are they? They're good people. They're just misunderstood. Yeah. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks, as always, for listening. Like I say, I've put out other stuff with everybody, with First Aid Spray, Tapes from the Waste, Gears Intel. Come and listen to all my other things that I do if you're interested in that sort of stuff. Please give this podcast a rating or a review. Subscribe on Spotify, all that stuff. Who knows? Maybe it'll go somewhere, this podcast. Maybe I should start leaking things. Maybe if I start leaking things, my life might have a reason to worth living. I'm going to have a think about that. I'll leave you with that. Have a good Sunday. Have a good week. Bye.